Hello!
Mystery Files listeners. Tonight we are sleepy deepy.
We're a little sleepy.
We're very tired, but we're ready to party
delusional.
hardy. We're a little sleep deprived. We're out here ready to thrive and tell some fun, spooky stories.
We just did a 24-hour film festival.
Yes.
So we are very, I wouldn't say creatively drained, just kind of a little loopy.
Just like a little sleep deprived, you know? Like, you know when you're really silly when you're tired? We have that kind of energy right now. So if there's a lot of fun bits and off-track things, just know what's happening.
I mean, what if they're like, so every show?
So basically every show. But I feel like this show especially, I'm all over the place. And we haven't even started yet, and that's all right.
This will be cathartic. Usually the Mystery Files is pretty cathartic.
It is. It'll be grand. For those of you who are here for the first time, we are usually a show where...
Yes, we are a show.
We're usually a show that presents different mysteries each week to each other, Logan and I. Mm-hmm. And we do like supernatural things, true crime things, just a bunch of fun, spooky things.
And last week we talked about the Salem witch trials, which was your case.
Yes.
I was trying to remember in my brain what it was.
I genuinely
last
forgot.
week was genuinely a long time ago.
No. For some reason I thought it was vampires.
Yeah.
That makes no sense, but I had a visual.
We've never done vampires on here.
Yeah.
I don't think. That's surprising.
Interesting.
Maybe next week.
Maybe, we'll see.
Well,
now I can't because you would know.
Because if I know, it's not fun anymore.
Yes, if you know. I like to keep you on,
that's like
on
the
your
worst
seat.
part.
Yeah.
You like to keep me on my seat?
Just on the edge.
Good to know. Good to know. On the edge of my seat.
Keep you on the edge of the seat, off your seat, just never on it.
Yes.
But yeah.
So last week, we talked about the Salem witch trials. That was a long one. That was an hour-long episode.
She was a beautiful episode.
I wasn't complaining, but I think that was maybe the longest episode we've done.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely the longest. I think the shortest was maybe 30-some
30 minutes? Yeah.
And then the longest we've done is that hour, I think, which is kind of crazy.
It was a fun one. It was a lot of information. It's good.
We usually play in between, like, that time. We usually are good. We get on about, 50 minutes in, and I think that's
our sweet spot.
Excellent. Yes.
Yes.
But this week it is
it's all
my
you,
case.
Home
I know.
I'm ready.
Yeah, would you like to give me a little drum roll, please?
Of course, I'd love to give you a drum roll. You ready? Okay.
Yes, I'm ready. This week on the Mystery Files, we will be doing the disappearance of Dennis Martin. Another disappearance case.
Wow,
I know.
You just love people going missing.
I was thinking about that today because I was like, because we were talking about Amelia Earhart and we were talking about maybe we should do a case on that, and I was kind of I don't want to talk about it right now. Maybe for a future episode, but it's too soon right now.
Oh my god!
If you didn't know, our short film that we did for this festival was about Amelia Earhart.
Yes, so it was a whole ordeal about her aunt that never existed.
Yeah,
but in this story she does.
And then we name dropped the Mystery Files in that episode.
We did.
We'll have to use that as little promo material. That'd be funny.
Yes.
But yeah, I just kind of realized, I was like, I still want to do a disappearance case, and I just realized very quickly, I was like, I'm doing a lot of missing person cases.
That's okay. They're interesting. They're always something fresh, something new.
But I think it's good because I think I found my niche, the thing I do more often than not.
Yes, I like it. I'm a fan.
They're usually fun. There's up to interpretation and things like that.
This is the disappearance of Glenn Martin DDS?
No, this is a child.
So not a dentist in an RV. Got it.
This one is actually pretty recent.
Oh, she's new.
Wait. Well, no and yes, actually. I made a mistake. So it's still, people have still been doing this case up to until last year, but it's a pretty old thing that happened. It happened back in 1962.
Okay.
But people are still looking into it to this day, which I thought was really interesting.
Do they still think the person's alive?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm intrigued to see where it goes if it says it's still ongoing.
All right, so I guess I'll hop into it. So all my information is from a few sources. We got, we're going to be looking at the Dark Tales blog. We're going to be looking through some Reddit pages because this is actually one of those Reddit not clickbait, but one of those rabbit holes people go down because there's a lot of interpretations as to what could have happened.
That's fun.
And then also I have a official case report from the National Park Service about this case.
That's impressive. Okay, research.
I know.
Yay.
All right, so.
Okay. Set the scene.
Six-year-old Dennis Martin went camping with older family members in June of 1969. He was last seen preparing to spring a surprise on his father and grandfather alongside his brother and other children. However, he never emerged from his hiding place, and despite the largest search in the history of the national park, no trace of him was ever found.
Oh, that's
so
scary.
Our mans was playing hide and seek and just simply never was found.
Never got seeked.
Which, surprisingly, I found a lot of cases of kids that this has happened to, like where they've played hide and seek and they've went missing afterwards.
That's scary. Is that like, maybe it's like a paranormal thing, like how they have,
I mean, it's possible.
Slenderman just like taking kids.
Yeah, it was just without a trace.
Ugh, that's creepy.
Yeah, so the Martin family from Knoxville had a long-established tradition of the male members of the family taking a camping trip to the nearby Great Smoky Mountains National Park to celebrate Father's Day.
Aww.
As you know, guys being dudes.
Dudes being guys.
Dudes being guys, dudes
being dudes.
Guys.
Yep, men.
Yep, men.
Gotta love them, gotta hate them.
Dennis traveled to the park for his first camping trip alongside his father, grandfather, and older brother. Initially arriving at Cades Cove, the group then hiked to Russell Field, where they camped overnight. The following morning, they set off for Spence Field, a highland meadow and popular camping spot bisected by the famous Appalachian Trail.
Ooh, a meadow. That sounds pretty. A little men's trip.
Yeah, so first, right off the bat, like, this family's really tugging this kid all over the place.
I know.
I'm like, you're really making this.
You say he was 6?
Yeah, he's 6 years old.
Let's go hiking up a mountain trail.
I would be so
You'll
tired.
Be
I'd be napping.
As a 6-year-old, I'd be like crying. I'm like, I don't want to walk up a stupid mountain. Like, come on.
Yeah. I'd be doing that now. If anyone told me to, like, hey, you're going to hike up a mountain and then go to several other spots on a hike, I'd be like, no,
like,
why?
Really in the mountains?
I'm a city person and I walk a lot,
You
but...
see, I feel like I'd have to be in the mood. I feel like I would like to be on a nice mountain trail, but not in Pennsylvania. You know?
Why not Pennsylvania?
Like in some weird country. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
like enjoying
like
the
backpack
beauty.
through Europe?
Yeah, like that'd be cute.
Oh, that'd
but like,
be
I'm not going to
beautiful.
do that in Pennsylvania.
Just don't run into the witches from the Salem
I kind of hope I do, though.
That still gets me. The fact
That they were all the way over there.
That they were all the way over there. This is a bit I should have done last week. But do you think the witches in Europe did study abroad programs?
To there or to here?
Both.
To Salem? So if they study abroad, doesn't... They literally study abroad
to
to
escape?
Salem?
They're like, yeah, I have to go to Europe because my whole town thinks I'm a witch. Which is true, but like,
Which
God.
is true. No, I imagine people from Europe would go backpacking and like journey on to Salem because they're like, oh my gosh, my ancestors. Like...
Maybe they had like a little thing in the Appalachians. Like I could see them having a little witchy cult out there.
A little witch gathering.
They were like, yes, my pretty.
I really want to be in a coven, but like, nice.
You are in a coven.
Circle up, friends.
Circle up. Isn't everyone who listens to the show basically in a coven?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Stop. Wait, can our Mystery Files fans be called our coven? Isn't that kind of cute?
That is kind of cute.
Aww.
Guys, let us know if you would like that to be your name.
You don't have
the
to
Mystery
like
Files
it.
coven.
You're now called the coven.
Okay.
I don't care what you think.
Never mind. You guys don't get a choice. That's your name
opinion
now.
doesn't matter with love.
Welcome to the Mystery Files coven, everybody.
Where your opinion doesn't matter. Welcome to our coven.
Oh my God.
Brought to you in part by.
Everyone's like, they're like the lip eye emoji. They're like, wait a minute.
Like, wait a second. No, we're called the coven now. Cool.
So back to the mystery. That's not about witches. I mean, it could be. That could be a possible theory.
I'm in for it.
All right. So on arrival, the 2 Martin children were allowed to play with others camping nearby. His father watched the boy disappear into the bushes to hide alongside the other children as they set about springing a surprise on the adults. So basically, they were just trying to like pull a little prank, give them a little scare, little kid stuff.
As they do, as they do.
However, while the other children quickly emerged, Dennis did not.
Oh, snapperoonie.
Immediately, his father and grandfather began searching for him, with his father running 2 miles along the trail shouting his name before returning to camp. His grandfather hiked out to raise the alarm, arriving at Cades Cove Ranger Station around 8:30 p.m.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That's creepy. Wait, I already have a theory, but it doesn't make any sense. It could very
Throw
easily
it
not
out.
be. What if behind that bush like a little further back, someone made a trap, like a little hole in the ground covered with leaves, and he fell into it. Like a really deep hole.
Like they're like, gotcha.
Yeah, they trapped him there. They said to wait till darkness, and then they took the kid from the hole.
I mean, that's not terrible. The only thing that like makes me like a bit weird is the fact that like none of the other children noticed he went missing with them if they were grouped together.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, maybe he like fell into something or like got trapped somewhere, because I feel like if he would have been abducted, wouldn't they see someone take him?
Unless like maybe he like ran off when they were behind there or something. But why would he run off is the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so an extensive search was launched with the National Park Service personnel supplemented by the National Guard troops and Green Berets, which I've never heard of that before.
Green Berets.
The Green Berets.
Wow.
In total, around 1,400 searchers found no sign of the child.
Oh, gosh.
And that's, like, one of the biggest, like, numbers I've seen for someone going missing. Like, the Brian Schaefer case didn't even have that many people.
It might have also been because it was a public park. Was it, like, a state park or something?
Yeah, there's a lot more to cover.
My gosh.
But 1,400 people volunteered to help find this child. Which I thought was...
That's just really sweet, though, because all those people in the community are like, oh my gosh, let's help find this kid.
No, yeah, for sure. But that's just, like, the biggest number I've seen with a disappearance case. I was just kind of taken back by that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, the search was later criticized, in part due to the large number of personnel involved potentially obscuring tracks in ground that was already difficult to track over due to the heavy rainfall that happened the day after.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so they think that, like, having that many people, like, they were like, oh, I think I found him. He's 10 and a half shoe size. And they're like, he's 6. you know?
He's actually 6 years old.
So, any trace of him.
Immediately have all those people going after and looking for him?
I think so. Like, they had all these people, like, come in and, like, try to help, which is great, but also...
Yeah, but, like, that's a lot of people to immediately have, because, like you said, like, it can obscure the evidence and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I just, like, this child, like, what? A 6-year-old, like, you could base that off of, like, a small bear or something?
Aw, baby bear.
A little baby bear. Like,
that's concerning.
You'd be, like, looking for a baby bear in a forest. It's kind of hard, you know?
Yeah. This kind of reminds me vaguely of, I don't know which case it was, but it was the family, like, half of them went missing in the woods.
The Sauter family, I think?
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Where they were on that camping trip and half of them just went missing.
Yes, because we covered that on season 2. We never got the video of it because we didn't record till this season.
But yes, I remember.
Yeah, because I actually looked up a lot of disappearance stuff, and that's one of the cases that came up. I was like, oh, I remember when we did that.
Remember. Yes, I'm, like, visualizing this as the same style.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Not that it's a style, but, like, when I visualize these cases, I have a very certain image, and I feel like the way I'm visualizing this case is, like, the same exact way.
I'm surprised I never heard of this case before, because apparently this is one of the top 20 missing persons cases in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And I'm surprised I never heard of it before till today.
Oh, my goodness.
So they were basically criticized for that. So the tracks of a child were found, but dismissed as belonging to one of the Boy Scouts that was helping with the search.
But why would they still not follow that lead? People are so stupid.
They're like, oh, it's probably a Boy Scout, whatever.
You're looking for a whole child. Who cares if it's a Boy Scout? At least try to figure it out.
Also, like, why bring children into it? Like, if a child already went missing in the woods, what part of that being like, yeah, bring more children out there.
Yeah, bring some more kids to see what happens. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Like, even if he got lost or someone abducted him, like, that abductor could still be in the area.
Yeah.
So they could take someone else. So it's like, why would you do that?
What parent would be like, yeah, I know this kid went missing here. How about I bring my whole child here? Like... No.
Oh my gosh. This is why I think we should be a crime team or something. Because we'd be like, y'all...
crime cases, I'm just like, people are dumb.
Like, we'll see a lead on this show and we'll be like, oh my god, wait, that's actually really important evidence. And I'll be like, the police department said it's fine.
They said, it's good.
Yeah. And that's why the mafia is still not found to this day. Because they find a lead and they're like, it's fine.
Let's let them do it. It's fine. Let's keep the crime alive.
But yeah, so they were later... however, the tracks were later reported to have come from a child who was missing one shoe and which disappeared on the banks of a stream, suggesting they likely belonged to Martin. This was supposed when a shoe and sock were found 3 days into the search.
Okay.
So both of his shoes were missing. And they found one of the shoes 3 days after the disappearance. And then later on they found another shoe.
Were they far apart?
Apparently so. They found the one in a stream in the water.
Maybe he fell in.
That's one of the theories. All right. So, despite searchers continuing their effort for over 2 weeks, no further trace of Martin was ever found. A $5,000 reward offered by the family turned up a number of calls from psychics, but never anything that led to a breakthrough. Some years later, a man who had been illegally collecting plants in the park claimed to have come across the skeletal remains of a child, but failed to inform the authorities until 1985 for fear of prosecution. When followed up, searchers again drew a blank in the case.
Okay.
Dude.
First off, this guy's an idiot, because I feel like the cops aren't going to blame you if you're like, hey, I found this whole skeleton in the woods.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
would they blame you? You wouldn't come forward if you killed them. Unless you were like, yes, I killed them.
Yeah, that makes him look more guilty.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
why did he come 15 years later?
That makes
with
it seem like, oh, you got a guilty conscience. Like,
exactly.
okay, did you kill them?
Exactly.
Second off, they still dismissed it. They said, I know we just found a skeleton of a child, but let's not check to see if it's the kid who went missing.
Also, the thing is, with that, you can do an anonymous tip. It's not hard. They had payphones back then.
Yeah.
He could have walked up to a payphone, called the National Guard, and said, hey, I found a kid in the woods.
Yeah.
Bye
or
now.
wrote a note or something or put it somewhere.
Exactly. Also, can we talk about the fact that this guy was illegally stealing plants from the national park?
Like, what do you mean? How do you even do that?
It's just so obscure that they have this in here. Like, it's like pouring into his character.
Wait, can we do our weekly Google? See why it's illegal, or what fine you get for stealing plants in a park.
It's time for the Mystery Files Google search.
Google search.
Why is it illegal to collect what? I just put in it did the predictive text, and it says, why is it illegal to collect rainwater? That's something we're gonna have to come back to. Is it? What if you drink it? Do you have illegal?
Me getting sent to prison to be something that stupid. I can finally live out my dream of being like a prison gangster.
I'm gonna record you drinking like rainwater, and I'm gonna be like, get her.
She's collecting it.
That's how I take you down one day. All this friendship has been leading up to is you drinking rainwater.
Go, officer, she was collecting rainwater. She drank it all.
Next time I see you, next time I see you, we don't.
Yeah, what do you mean next time you see me? Tomorrow morning?
Next time we.
When we leave this building?
After we leave here?
My gosh.
You mean forever?
You mean for the rest of your life? I'm never leaving.
But no, so we're hanging out, right? When
Yeah.
it's raining outside, and I go, hey, Tiffany, don't you want to taste it? Stick your tongue out, come on. And then I get it, and I go, haha.
The National Guard comes out from all these corners of the street and go, get her, she did it.
It's the meme where it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
For rainwater.
Wait, do you think that's the same thing for snowflakes? Like, if you eat a snowflake, since it's technically just frozen.
All the Christmas movies, people are going to be sent to prison.
If you're in any Hallmark movie ever, get ready for jail.
Prison. Jail.
Get ready for jail, buddy.
Send him to jail. Right away.
Okay, wait. I didn't finish typing.
Oh, wait. You should actually just look up what the fine is for stealing state park plants. Like,
I
how much?
Probably put in both.
Yeah, do that. I want to know how much they get fined.
That way we only get the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it illegal to collect plants from national parks? Regulations on picking up native flowers. Stop. There's a whole ethics thing behind it.
It's a plant.
I guess it's bad for the environment, I guess.
It's gonna grow back. Hopefully.
Oh, I'm looking here. So, apparently, what? So, you're allowed to pick flowers, berries, nuts, seeds, cones, or other flower parts in small amounts as long as they are not for commercial use.
What does that mean?
I guess if you're making if you're doing a wedding and you need flowers for it, you can't just go to a national park and pick up a
You're
whole
telling
thing of
me
bouquet.
I can't make state park berry jam and can it and
You can
sell
make
it?
No, you can't do that. It's for
How are they gonna know? They go, this tastes like the national park of Pittsburgh. That's not
Wait, no, there is a national park in. There's one in Pennsylvania. I don't think it's.
This is the Pennsylvania State
You steal
Park
berries from the point.
Ugh, I wouldn't want those.
Stop! You're gonna make the city of Pittsburgh cry.
Would you eat a berry from Pittsburgh?
Yes.
I believe you.
After this, I'll go.
Where's a berry bush? Where's it at?
Cut to me eating berries at the point and me dying. Yeah.
Being points.
But yeah, apparently there are exceptions, such as not removing or harming protected plants. Apparently there's a list of protected plants, and the plants, I guess, maybe he was taking are that. But apparently you can also take as many as you want if you have a permit for it. You need a permit for everything.
I don't need a permit to pick a flower.
You think we need a permit for this podcast?
I hope so.
We get a cease and desist letter for that.
Everything.
That's it. Not anything else we've talked about. It's that. It's
my gosh.
So yeah, I think that's what it is. And apparently there's ethics behind it as to why.
So Mr. Skeleton Man.
Mr. Skeleton.
Mr. Skeleton Finder Man.
So yeah, apparently
he's just a plant picker.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Yeah, what a jerk. Especially since he didn't call that in.
Stop selling your berry jam and call the cops about what you saw, sir.
Exactly. If you see something wrong happening,
say something.
Call the authorities.
Please
someone. Say something.
Please, don't be a dummy.
Even if you pass it on to someone else, like pass the guilt on to someone else, they'll probably do something.
For real.
And if they don't they'll pass the guilt on to someone else till something happens.
Don't be skeleton plant guy. Don't be him.
Don't be him. Don't steal plants from the national park. Unless you don't get caught.
This has been the mystery. We have 10 minutes left.
No, we don't. We don't have to be on there right now. Everyone's listening to the show right now. They're like,
no, don't you though?
We're good.
The show never ends. She's eternal.
Yeah, it's how it feels sometimes.
Time doesn't exist, friends.
All right, back to the case. In regards to what happened to the boy, most researchers believe that he became disoriented and lost after straying away from camp, or that he lost his footing and fell down one of the numerous steep slopes and ravines in the area. Despite wearing a bright red shirt that should have been easy for searchers to spot, Martin's small size and the thick bush in the area means a body could well have been overlooked. Other searchers point to the presence of a black bear in the area, as well as copperheads and feral pigs.
I hate feral pigs.
I've never seen one before, but I'm very scared of them.
I was thinking Lord of the Flies, and I can't with no.
However, one underweight bear had been caught in a boar trap in the area 2 weeks earlier before being released, suggesting that the animals may have been struggling to find enough food.
No.
Yeah. So, Martin's father, however, believes that his son was taken by another person. This theory appears to be based largely on the eyewitness's account of Harold Key, a visitor to the park that reported hearing a loud scream on the afternoon Martin disappeared. Shortly after, he claims to have seen a disheveled man covered in hair and attempting to remain unseen, fleeing from the woods.
But why did they not say anything?
Exactly. Why aren't these people saying anything?
You can literally save lives if you don't be stupid. My gosh.
Period.
My gosh.
So yeah, Key's family elaborated then the figure had a red object slung over his shoulder, matching the clothing Martin was wearing.
Oh my gosh.
So they believe maybe this man might have taken them to, or like this man they've claimed to have seen. Because, we do get a lot of claims on this show.
Yeah.
That, we never know, what the truth is. But apparently that's a
little sister sketch.
So, despite the report, FBI investigators ultimately dismissed it, given that the sighting had taken place more than 5 miles from where Martin had vanished, and Key was unclear on the timeline. He later speculated that the man may have been a moonshiner, explaining his reluctance to be seen. One retired park ranger lamented to the failure to properly follow up either the footprints or the sighting of the rough-looking man. He arguing that as the location of the sighting was downhill from where Martin disappeared, it was more than reasonable for a relatively fit individual to cover that distance in the time frame, even carrying a child.
Oh my gosh. Why can't people literally just say when they see something?
Can we talk about how crazy this park is, though, for a second,
How big is it?
I mean, it's in the Appalachians, so it's pretty
large.
Yeah, pretty big.
Pretty big. What if you just rolled down the hill a couple miles?
I mean, that is one of the ideas that they have about it.
My thought, he eats a poisonous berry.
Okay.
Or gets bit by some snake, something crazy. He's all delusional.
They said there was a lot of copperheads in that area.
Yeah,
at the time.
like I feel like he could be like influenced by whatever it is, and then he like rolls down the hill or something.
The crazy idea to me is that there's wild pigs there.
Oh,
like,
I really hate wild pigs. I'm sorry, wild pigs out there, but you freak me out.
Pigs are like scary. Like, I don't want to get too graphic on this show, but like from what I've learned about like Gettysburg before, like pigs will eat humans. Like they will do it.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Like just wild pigs or like pigs? Like baby pigs?
I don't think a baby pig's trying to bite into
like,
some
what
humans,
about, like,
but wild boars
but like
and like pigs
barn
will do
pig.
that.
A barn pig. I don't know what the difference is.
But
But wild pigs are more like scary.
Yeah, I think they still have tendencies with pigs because in Gettysburg, like they would throw bodies into like pig pens and they would like eat them.
Oh my god.
That was a real thing that happened.
I've never heard of that.
You've never?
No.
I only know this because my parents are obsessed with Gettysburg.
Yeah.
So I know all these little facts. Surprised I haven't done a case on Gettysburg yet with all my knowledge. Guess I just spoiled maybe a show coming up.
Well, we did spoil vampires too. So.
And
Two are spoiled.
I do my next show and I don't even do that. I do another disappearance case.
You do vampires, I go blow them and I'll kill
you. Just for fun, I spice it up.
Just for fun, ooh.
But so there are some theories behind what could have happened. I explained a few of them, but there's three main theories that to what could have happened to Martin. The first is that he became lost and perished from exposure or some other cause, likely during the first night. This is the most probable theory according to park officials. So they believe that he got lost and may have became exposed to either like wild berries. It might have been way too cold for him out there, so he could have caught hypothermia.
Oh my god.
Because summer nights, as we know, can get really, really chilly depending on what time, especially up in the mountains. So they believe he might have passed away from that.
Well, also, if he were to have fallen or rolled down this hill or something, he could have been, like, covered with mud and stuff and, like, blended in. Because I said he was wearing a bright red shirt, but, like, if that's all muddied up, then, like...
I didn't even think of that.
He could go unseen. Because I imagine he'd have, like, brown, like, bushy hair or something. And, like...
Yeah. He does. I have pictures of him. He does have brunette hair.
Wow, okay.
So you are close.
We love a casting mind.
And also it's possible like the hypothermia idea because they did find his shoe and a sock in the river.
So he could have been like
been like underneath it. And like because like obviously cold water. Yeah. It's a river at night. Like he could
I wonder if it was like a quickly rushing river because he could have gotten caught in a current or like
I mean, it depends, too, because, like I said, like, streams like that in parks, like, you never know what the flow of that's going to be like.
Yeah.
We've seen in movies that happening.
All those movies.
Like the Yogi Bear movie, for example, when they're going down the river. As a prime example of...
The Yogi Bear movie. I don't think I've seen it. Or it's been a long time.
Guess what we're watching tonight?
Well, I'm looking for a new apartment, actually. Crazy.
Next week on next week on my next case, I'll talk about Yogi Bear. It has nothing to do with the mysteries.
It's not a mystery, but here's the plot.
Yes.
Plot point 1.
So the second is that he was attacked by either a hungry bear or less likely a feral pig and carried off.
Ooh.
This is a plausible theory.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why none of those little kids said something to him.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're little, and it's like, oh, yeah, like, where are you going? Do you want us to come with you? And they might have been scared. But just, like, the fact that there was, like, that many kids at the campground behind this same bush with him.
Yeah.
And they just happen to not say anything.
Well, I feel like it's also very possible that he could have, like, roamed off when they weren't paying attention. Because if you imagine, like, here's a bush, and then all the people are, like, looking one direction, like, trying to like, jump out and scare or surprise someone. He could have easily gone the opposite direction that everyone wasn't looking and, like, paying close attention to. Like, I feel like it's very possible he just, like, kind of roamed off, and then XYZ happened after that.
Yeah, I mean, that is possible. It's just, like, crazy. Like, this case just very much intrigues me, the fact of, like, playing hide and seek and doing such a silly little prank and then going missing. Yeah, it's just like I think that's what drew me to this case. It's just like how quickly it escalated to being like this like crazy mystery that no one's been able to figure out.
See, it's stuff like this that makes me afraid of, like, babysitting children or having kids of my own, because I have this fear that, like, something crazy like that will happen. It's like, if you turn your back for 1 second,
Yeah.
That's scary.
So the third theory, which is I think one of the most interesting, is that the third is that he was abducted and taken out of the park by something or someone.
Oh, okay.
Now, we did talk about maybe this possible moonshiner being the abductee since they saw the red cloth on him. But like we said, they don't know if it was a moonshiner, if it was like someone who's trying to abduct children.
Yeah.
However, instead of people pinpointing it towards the moonshiner, for the third theory, people believe it was his father.
Why?
So on the afternoon that Martin disappeared, Taurus Harold Key and his family had heard an enormous, sickening scream, and shortly thereafter witnessed a rough-looking man seamlessly hiding in the bushes to flee. However, park rangers in the Federal Bureau investigation concluded that there was insufficient evidence to the disappearance, particularly given that Key's sighting was approximately 5 miles away, which we've established. But the sighting occurred a little while after Dennis went missing, but the family also added that the man in the woods had something slumped over his shoulder, and they believe that this man may have been the father looking for his son, or may have known where he ended up.
Okay, so they think the guy that was with the red thing over his shoulder was the dad.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, and here's where the theory gets a little kooky. So, on the Reddit forums, a lot of people believe that there's a cover-up for what would have happened. So this is by a Reddit user asking questions about the case to David Polides, who was the person in charge of the Dennis Martin case. He starts it off with the pinpoint. I have questions for David Polides. My first question is, why did you lie about interviewing Dennis Martin's father? His wife nor his daughter and only surviving son never met you, nor did Dennis Martin Sr. ever once tell his wife you were at the house. 2, in regards to Dwight McCarter, you took everything out of context in regards to what Dwight told you about why the Green Berets were there, and also the park ranger being attacked by a wild man in 1968. It never happened. The wild man that was scoping the woods the day Dennis disappeared, there is no such person dressed in bearskins, but a Caucasian male in dark gray work clothes who drove off when he noticed the Key family had spotted him.
Oh.
The Green Berets did speak to the media, but under controlled circumstances. Dwight McCarter never said there was any contact at all by the Green Berets, nor did they have the weapons they came with as you described. They only came with Colt 45 handguns as issued by the staff and other officers.
Oh my gosh.
So this person is basically thinking these investigators and the father, like all these people, were making an elaborate story to what could have possibly happened.
Okay.
So
like as a cover up for something they accidentally did? Okay.
By saying like, oh yeah, like we saw like this man with like a red thing, because that's just so specific, knowing that he was wearing a red shirt.
That's just weird. Maybe it's like some sort of like weird like hunting accident, or like, I don't think they would hunt in these woods, but like just something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it would be possible that the father abducted his own son. That just seems very off-putting.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it is possible maybe the body was identified and they just they tried to cover it up for some reason. But the thing is, why would you want to cover up what happened to him in the woods?
Yeah, but it's also like, if it was a cover-up, why are all these certain people like also covering up? Like, what's the motive for all these like Green Beret people to also be covering it up? Because if the dad did something and was like, oh, I gotta cover it up because I accidentally killed my son, something like that, that's something. But why would those people also trying to be getting into that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So the next thing this guy talks about is that the man stated that a former FBI agent, James Wright, committed suicide for unknown reasons, which is not true at all. He committed suicide because of depression, had nothing to do with the case at all. And he said, and this Reddit user also says, you're probably wondering where I got this information from. I interviewed an author who released a novel called Forever Searching, Lost in the Smoky Mountains, based on the 1969 cold case file on Dennis Lloyd Martin. He's also ready to back up all the information in this book, and when I interviewed him, he told me everything about the case. I was floored to the amount of lies that I heard.
Oh.
There's also another gentleman named Robert on Amazon. He has given Your Missing 411 series a very critical view, and I interview him as well. Mr. Pallades, you should be ashamed of yourself making money off of people like this. So apparently the guy working on this case also talked about this as well.
Ooh.
And yeah,
it seems like there's a lot of misinformation circling around, so it's kind of hard to like make one dedicated like thought to it.
So yeah, this police detective basically took this case that he was working on at the time and profited off of it in a book series that was misconstrued and was telling lies, which I think is very interesting because it almost feels like it was like, oh, well, I helped work on the case, so like I would know best, like what has happened. Yeah. So so which I think is just crazy, like the misinformation he was given.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically everything to do with this little case about Dennis Martin.
I feel like it's hard for me to make. I don't know. I just don't know what could have happened. Because I feel like there's a lot of different things, but I'm like, where did he actually go? Like, was the skeleton that was found actually him? Because if it wasn't him, is he still there? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard because I love to believe in this kind of like crazy idea that there's a cover-up, and I believe something were to happen. However, I think a very plausible one is the idea that he may have possibly got caught in the river and something would have happened, because they mentioned that he could have fallen down the ravine, but they don't say like could he have fallen down the ravine, like hit his head and then got in the river and drowned or something.
But the only thing is, if he drowned, like why did they not find his body in the water?
It's a good point.
And if then maybe it could have washed up on shore, and that was like the like skeletal body that was found. But the only thing for that too is I feel like the first place you would check if someone was missing is probably by the water, because everyone would be like, oh yeah, like the kid might have like been by the water and like fell in or something. So like I feel like they would have checked all that surrounding area depending on how long the stream was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like it is easy to just think, oh, he was abducted, because it would just be understandable that he could be taken. You know what I mean? Because then he wouldn't be left in the woods.
Yeah, I think this case is just very interesting. Like, just anything could have happened to him, because like the thing is, he just like walked off.
Yeah.
And this case has just never been solved, and he's been missing as of right now. The status is that he's been missing for 51 years, 4 months, and 25 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
didn't you say there was an updated thing?
Yeah, so I've read all the updated stuff.
Okay,
Part of this was the whole David guy who's been kind of cashing in on these mysteries of paranormal.
I thought there was like an updated, like, oh, there's a lead or all.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, these are just updated information based off what's happened so far, which is crazy, because like it seems like they might have even had less information up till now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that people are still like holding on hope to like trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, because there's still people actively like, okay, let's try to figure this out as much as we can.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because even though it's an old case, like the life still matters. Like we just try to figure it out. So
yeah, especially like I think it holds people accountable for cases that are happening now by holding them accountable for the past.
Yes.
It's just like crazy thinking how many things could have happened, especially with like it being in like a national park with so many like wild animals like running around,
especially like the pigs and all these stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's possible,
especially in the Appalachians. Appalachians are very dangerous.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe he could have got lost or something, or like a bear like drug him to like a secret cave, or like you don't know, like animals are very scary sometimes.
And I think as nice as it was having those 1,400 people help, I think it might have ended up ruining evidence that could have possibly been there.
Yes. They shouldn't have had that many people immediately. Because I feel like even cases that I've heard of that happened in like recent years, they try not to have people searching the first couple of days in the first place. Because that's how things get messed up.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
I don't know.
But I guess the disappearance of Dennis Martin will remain a mystery. Thank you guys for tuning in with us.
Thank you,
my dudes. We will see you next week for Tiffany's case.
Yes, on the next week.
Yes. Hey. Goodbye.
Goodbye, home skizzles.